All right, so for today's episode, we have come outside because we're going to be talking about ways to get creative inspiration into your business and why it's important. So, one of the biggest things that I see happening and trending is that a lot of traditional marketing tactics that used to work they're still working, but they're a lot less effective. And I think what's happening is the trust factor is really coming into play, especially when we're trying to sell online. There's too many people who've been burned by fake gurus or programs that don't work or coaches that overpromise and underdeliver and all these things. And then we went through this whole traumatic thing as a world with everything that happened with the pandemic and everything there. And so when we started seeing people come back out into the world, into real live events, and actually starting to engage in buying online again, what I've seen, I call it kind of the wounded bird syndrome, is that there's a lot of this like, oh, I have been burned by this before. Like, this thing has stung. It has ouched me. I really want to know that I can trust you. And I think when we relate that to how we're standing out online, this is the reason why direct selling approaches like funnel marketing, your direct sales, those kinds of things, they still are working, yes, but especially in the world where we're talking about people who are maybe a little bit more heart-centered or focused, is there's a lot of like, okay, I get that works, but like, I don't want to participate in that, right? There's a lot of, I just really want to know that you're a good person, that I can trust you, that you are going to help lead me to the result that I am after, right? And I think the best way that we can do that is by showing your authentic self, sharing your core values, actually digging into why you're in business, who you want to help, why you want to help them. Honestly, I can tell you the biggest thing that I have seen is all the direct marketing approaches, very much like funnel marketing, direct response, all this kind of stuff. To me, it just feels like the big dick swinging club, right? That's not my scene. I don't want to be part of it. So that you don't want to be part of it either, then let's talk about ways that you know that you can relate to your audience. And that comes down to really sharing those stories. Like, I'll share with you right now my core values. I don't want to work with people who are assholes. I want to work with people who are actually out to try to change the world and make it a better place. And my job is to support those people. So when I'm sharing that information, it helps you see like, oh, I'm actually a real person. Like, I genuinely want to help people. And there's absolutely, this is truly authentic because I'm literally sitting in my backyard and there's all sorts of noise and bad camera production quality and all these things that are happening. And you know what really matters is marshmallows. Just kidding, sort of. So what we want to do, oh, see, even the dog's gonna go help, right? That's Addie. What we want to do is look at, in content creation, in our marketing, like, what are the things that are going to help us like stand out and actually accomplish trying to change that world, change other people's lives. And I think what that really comes down to is tapping into that creativity so that you're going to tell stories and you're going to share authentically who you are. Now, the reason that I'm sitting outside and doing all this here is because I want to talk about one of the easiest ways that you can tap into your creativity. First of all, just getting outside. That's why I'm out here, because being outside, toes in sand, toes in grass, whatever you want to do, you know, it kind of starts to play into that like childlike playfulness. Wow, say that 5 times fast. And really you get, you know, in touch with nature. To me, that is an awesome way to tap into creativity and things that are going to help show people who you are, right? This is me. I spend probably 90% of my weekend sitting outside here on this patio. So there you go. That's me. Okay, so the reason that I have marshmallows is because recently I went to a business summit, and at the summit we got to have, every person that attended got to have a hot seat. They got to make a JV offer, and we had a gift of generosity. And I was like, what am I going to give these guys that is going to help create content that they can use, but give them a way that they can actually tap into creativity, tap into who they are. So I came up with a little game, and I'm going to share it with you because it's a lot of fun. So yeah, I literally went to a mastermind. I paid a lot to be one of the dumbest people in the room. And you know, what else are you going to do when you're in a room full of millionaires but give them some spaghetti and marshmallows and say, go for it, right? It was so much fun. It really was. All right, so what I did is I handed out these envelopes, and in the very beginning, they got different picture frames, right? And these are just little paper frames. And then I gave envelopes to everybody, and in the envelopes, like one person had, well, I kind of put them in groups of 4. So one person in the group had string and scissors. Another person got tape with dog hair on it, apparently. And another person got some spaghetti. And then another person had marshmallows. And they had to work together in teams. And that's literally, like, I had them open up their envelopes and said, here you go. This is what you are. And now I want you at this very moment in time to take your picture frame and write across here how you are feeling right now. A 1-word check-in. Tell me how you're feeling right now. And most of them were like, what on earth are you going to have us do? And I'm like, I will explain it in a minute. But right now, I want you to explain. To write down what you were. So there was confused, awkward, childlike. There was lots of kind of fun words that people were tapping into. Then we'll come back to this, okay? So I just wanted to document where they were at to start with. Then I explained that they were going to use the spaghetti and the marshmallows and the string and the tape, and they were going to build structures. So their goal was to build a structure as high as they possibly could and to work in teams to do that. So we gave them probably about 10 minutes, and it was so much fun. They were all over the place, and they made some amazingly tall structures. I didn't even think that it was going to be possible, but there was some pretty smart ingenuity in that. But what happened is it really was like an icebreaker activity. All of a sudden, people who were strangers in a room were working together, and there were laughs, and there was total creativity and spontaneity, and it was just an absolute blast. Pretty amazing. So then at the end of it, I said, okay, now I want you to write down here at the bottom of this, what is a 1-word check-in now? Like, how are you feeling now? And it was playful, joyful, relaxed. Like there is definitely a transition that happened from the top to the bottom word, right? Now, one thing I had done, which I don't even have it out here, but normally you see a whole bunch of cameras behind me, right? So I actually had a camera that looks like a Polaroid. Actually, it looks like an old-fashioned camera, but it is a Polaroid. And I went around and I took pictures of every single person. So then they had a little instant Polaroid to drop into this. So I said, okay, now this is now your inspiration. Put this up, look at the words on the top and the bottom, and talk about your reaction to this experiment. Talk about how it made you feel. Talk about a story that maybe it brings up from childhood. Like, it's going to tap into something, and tie it in then to the words that you wrote down, because I guarantee that your customers at some point in time probably have a place where they're feeling confused, and they probably have a time when they were feeling joyful, and you can talk about the transition that happened in between that, right? Now, the beautiful thing, and the reason that I gave them 2 picture frames, is because they could take the picture out and put it into a different frame and literally share how it ties into their core values or their authenticity or like their reaction to something, right? Their opinion. They could talk about how they think I was a total dumbass for making them play with arts and crafts. But you can take the exact same story and put it in a different frame and change the context of it. And I think it's still the same story. It's a way that we can kind of like think about repurposing stories and doing that. But it's also something that we can use to really relate to our customers, because those emotions and feelings, those are things that everybody feels, right? And I think anything that you can do, and it does not have to be string and like actual arts and crafts time, but whatever you're doing that's going to tap into that creativity, that is definitely something that you should be doing and thinking about, like actually sharing how you feel about things. And anytime you can get creative and playful, that's what you're doing. Share like exactly how you're feeling. I mean, I was so nervous to walk into this room and tell all these millionaires in this room, like, oh yeah, we're literally just gonna be playing with arts and crafts. It was crazy. But you know what? Like the amount of smiles, the joy, the creativity, the things that happen. You guys, the wait staff for the hotel, because we were at a hotel, they actually picked up and cleaned around these structures. They lasted to the next day. It was insane. I did not honestly think that spaghetti and marshmallows would create a structure that actually lasted until the next day. It was amazing. And it was so much fun. So I'm going to challenge you. Here's your homework, right? I'm going to challenge you to go do something today that's going to get you creative. And then go do a Facebook Live or something where you're talking about what it was. What was your transformation? What did your journey look like? Talk about those feelings and talk about being super confused and talk about how you changed from confused into something else, or being super inspired and creative, like whatever it is that you're going to do, but talk about those emotions, because those are the things that are going to show people that you really are a human that they can relate to, a human that they can trust, and a person who will become a mentor and a friend. And I think that that is the biggest way that you're going to stand out online now. And I think that that is going to attract more of the right customer to you. So that's all about what we do here at Formula Done, which has nothing to do with cars or marketing or anything like that, but go get creative.